Have you ever seen icons on your HUD in Dead by Daylight and wonder what they mean? In this DBD 101 video, we'll break down every status effect and how they impact your gameplay. To start off with, the color of each status effect will tell you if the effect is a buff or a debuff. Anything in yellow means you're getting a buff, and anything in red is a debuff. You can see this when you use toolboxes. When repairing a gen with a toolbox, you'll see your progress bar go from gray to yellow. And the reason that bar turns red when multiple survivors are on a gen is because the individual survivors are receiving a debuff to gen repair to make it more balanced. As of 8.2.0, or the Castlevania chapter of DBD, there are 21 status effects that can affect players. Some are exclusive to survivors, some are exclusive to killers, and some can affect both. At least 2 statuses are exclusive when playing against specific killers, those being Madness for Doctor and Sleep for Freddy. Some status effects have tiers. Which tier you're on will be displayed using a small chevron on the effects icon. At this point in time, the only tiered effects are Bloodlust for killers, and again Madness for the Doctor. For the most part, status effects do not stack on themselves, meaning you can't be affected by the same effect more than once, but if they have a timer, that timer can be restarted depending on what its trigger is. Blessed is an effect exclusive to survivors. It's basically a notifier of when a survivor is within the radius of a blessed totem. Blindness is an effect that can affect both survivors and killers. When players are blinded, they can't read any auras, even the ones that should be seen from perks. For killers, this includes the auras of hooks and generators. Bloodlust is an effect exclusive to killers. While there is nuance to the Bloodlust effect, it's a built-in mechanic for killers to prevent chases from being too prolonged. There are 3 tiers to Bloodlust, and the higher tier, the faster the killer's movement speed is. This is a good one for newer killers to pay attention to, because if you're in Bloodlust for too long, it can kind of be an indicator that you've prolonged the chase with a survivor and you need to break chase and find a new target. Broken is a status effect exclusive to survivors. While broken, survivors are unable to be healed from the injured state. Cursed is similar to Bless. It's exclusive to survivors and it notifies survivors when they are being affected by an active hex totem. Deafen is a status effect that can impact both survivor and killer. Game audio is temporarily muted and a tinnitus whistle will play. It's the game's way of simulating head trauma, which is why it's usually caused by perks like knockout or flashbang. Deep wound is a survivor status effect. While in the deep wound, there's a special health bar on display. If the survivor is not running or mending, the health bar will be depleted. Failing to heal before the health bar is empty will put survivors in the dying state. Endurance is an effect that affects both survivors and killers. For survivors, it prevents them from being downed. You'll know you hit a survivor with the endurance status because they'll have a white outline when hit. This is a base kit effect when survivors are pulled from hook. Endurance does not protect survivors from being downed if they're in the deep wound status. For killers, endurance means they've reduced the time from being stunned. Exhausted is a status effect for survivors. This is a mechanic tied to a set of perks called exhaustion perks. This effect is to prevent survivors from chaining these perks to back. Life, for example, is an exhaustion perk. The exhaustion status prevents survivors from being able to chain vault points to outrun the killer. Exposed is a survivor status effect. While exposed, killers can effectively do double damage, meaning survivors who are exposed only need 1 hit to be put into the dying state. However, endurance does shield survivors from the exposed status. The glyph status effect is exclusive to killers. It means they are currently being debuffed due to a glyph challenge. Hemorrhage is a survivor status effect. Survivors suffering from the hemorrhage effect produce more pools of blood and lose healing progress at a rate of 7% if not fully healed. Haste is a status effect that affects both survivors and killers. Haste means your movement speed has increased. Unlike Bloodlust, however, this increase in speed is usually tied to a perk, such as Noed. Hindered affects both survivors and killers. It's the opposite of haste in that movement speed is decreased. Incapacitated is a survivor effect. While incapacitated, survivors are unable to do specific actions, which are cleansing, blessing totems, healing or mending other survivors, repairing gens, saboing hooks, and using items. Survivors can still do things like drop pallets, enter lockers, unhook survivors, and open the gate. Madness is a survivor-specific status effect that can only be applied by the killer or the doctor. Depending on the level of madness and add-ons, madness will affect survivors in different ways, including hearing chase music even if the doctor's not around, produce hallucinations of the doctor, and most commonly change the way skill checks work, which includes moving the skill check circle and the direction the skill check moves. Mangled is a status effect exclusive to survivors. Mangled causes survivors' healing to take 25% longer, but is removed once the affected survivor is at full health. Oblivious is another survivor-exclusive status effect. It takes away survivor abilities to hear the killer's terror radius and heartbeat. Killer effects that require survivors to be in the terror radius are unaffected, but during chases, survivors will still hear chase music. Revealed is a status effect that was introduced in the 2v8 game mode and is exclusive to survivors. During the 2v8 game mode, survivors will periodically have their auras revealed to killers. Sleep is a survivor status effect that is exclusive to Freddy Krueger. While experiencing the sleep penalty, survivors will take longer to wake up from the dream world. Undetectable is a status buff that is exclusive to killers. It's a stealth mechanic that suppresses the killer's terror radius, red stain, and blocks their aura from being seen by survivors. There's a small visual effect to the killers who are undetectable, making them look like they're in a smoky screen, but it's not highly discernible to most survivors. And there we have it, all the DBD status effects you can come across in-game. Are there any other concepts or mechanics you'd like to see covered in my DBD 101 series? Leave your answers in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more DBD content, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel.